Hello, everyone. Brett the Comic Novice here. And in case you have not heard of the death that occurred on the pages of Amazing Spider Man 26, well, I will be getting to that spoiler shortly. However, I think there's a couple of layers I do want to kind of peel back and discuss before I actually read the comic. Because currently, I have not read the comic. I have heard the rumor that Marvel, accidentally released to the public so that they could, gain possibly momentum selling out the copy, having it going to second printing before it actually ever got into anybody's hands. But yes, and this, I do like to show the comics that I read because I want to show that I do support every single thing that I do review. That is my stack of Amazing Spider-Man, the Zeb Wells run from issue number 1 all the way to 26. And I do have one of my positives I will say regarding this spoiler variant is generally the spoiler variant just says spoiler variant, and then eventually the cover comes out and it spoils everything for you. I like that it actually says spoiler variant on the front, and there is no, I haven't even opened it up from my local comic book store. So I props to them for, not spoiling, the whole Jace Fox is the next Batman, or, this is this, or, Spider-Boy's first appearance or whatever. I like that the spoiler variant was exactly as it was labeled as a spoiler variant. It's just a black cover with red letters that said spoiler variant. That was just, I think, what I wanted. Now, I feel as though that we need to peel back the layers of this whole thing, and then I'll read the comic and give you my thoughts. I won't have a complete breakdown, but I feel as though that it needs to be said that the outrage, I think, is, if you really pay close attention, it is a lot of either fake outrage of fake comic book readers, or if you've been following along with Amazing Spider-Man, it is actually people who've been complaining about Amazing Spider-Man for a long time, and it just leads up to this point. However, the massive amount of backlash, and I'm going to show you something in a little bit, but it's actually done by people who haven't read, at least in my opinion, or haven't purchased The Amazing Spider-Man all along, and their reviews, review bombing. I thought you could only do that if it was, something at a movie that had diversity and stuff like that. However, I want to show you some examples of review bombing that is currently happening, because I guess you can do it when you're displeased with something and it's not a Disney movie or product or Star Wars or whatever. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change my screen right here and I think, again, this, I think, speaks volumes. So The Amazing Spider-Man volume number 1, the trade paperback, out of 103, reviews, 4 stars out of 5. Okay. The Dark Web volume number 4, it's only 6 people have reviewed it, but, 4.5 out of 5, you could say that there should be more. I do kind of agree with that. But then you have volume number 2 out of 77 reviews, 4 stars out of 5. So, and then volume 3, 26 people, 4.5 stars out of 5. And again, I've heard on comics YouTube and stuff like that, it's been progressively kind of getting a little bit more questionable in writing. I don't know. I own it all. I just don't have time to read it. Eventually, I'm going to just jump ahead and just, do read issue number 26, but I will get around to, I purchased all 26 of them, so I better get around to reading them. But I want to share a couple of things that I've noticed regarding this whole, debacle of this death. Again, still teasing that right now. But if we peel back the layers, I'm going to go back to, the reviews on League of Comic Geek for issue number 21. Out of 446 people, about 312 said that they liked it, giving it a review of 70. Now, this is quite interesting because as we get closer and closer to the infamous issue 26, now we go to issue number 22, which, there is 69, brown chicken, brown cow. People actually liked it. Out of 383, we have 264 people who actually said that they liked this. We get to issue 23, it goes up a little bit more. Out of 388, we have 294 who liked it with a 76% rating. Again, issue 25, now it is dropped down. So now only 214 people like it with a 56% average, rating of it. Issue 25, it's about 59. Again, about 238 out of 405 liked it. Now we're going to get to issue 26, the infamous issue 26. And out of 141 people who reviewed it, supposedly the first day, and they gave it 22 people liked it, and a lot of people don't, with an average rating of 16. So there is one story right there. However, if you scroll down and look at some of the reviews, and specifically the 1% review, if you go take some of those people's names and Control F it, doesn't show up on issue 25. You Control F it, does not show up on issue 24. Control F it, does not show up on issue 23. Let's see. Issue 22, no. So this person who supposedly been reading it for a whole long and hated it, and has been buying it or whatever, did not review anything before. We scroll down to this person right here. Go to the next one. Control F. Nope. Scotty Young. Only one person. Variant cover. Go over here. Young. Nope. Not even variant cover for that one. Or that one. Or that one. Whoops. Didn't even bring it up. Or that one. So, yes, it is getting review bombed. However, is being review bombed by people who haven't read it. And it's just one of those weird questions that I just pose that, could it be utterly horrible? Yes. Is the death deserved? I don't know. I haven't read the comic yet. I think that is important for me to kind of be unbiased before I actually peel back the layers and actually read it. It could be a stupid, pointless death, which is basically going to try to be a money-making machine to get them ready for the Marvels movie. Oops, spoiler alert. Somebody with the last name or one of the Marvels is possibly dead in issue number 26. Again, that was spoiled weeks ago by, Marvel, probably to just figure out how angry, or again, get people to want to pick up this book, and then, get people to get it so publicized that it immediately gets a second copy or whatever before it ever hits the shelf. It is a total marketing scheme, and it is being review bombed by people who, again, you criticize the people for supposedly review bombing Little Mermaid, She-Hulk, Star Wars, who possibly didn't watch the movie. What about this? So is it an absolutely, review? Is it horrible? I'll find out in a second, and I will get back with you. But currently, the amount of hatred, this is just Twitter hatred. This is just people who are trying to be outraged and try to, this is one of those things where if you go on a podcast and somebody, gives it a 1 star out of whatever it is and says that, I can't believe that they've totally disgusted me, and I can't believe it. They probably never listened to the podcast ever before in their life. It's just one of those things that they just wanted to say and, maybe just stick it to you. Oh, that hurt my soul. Actually, no, it probably didn't, because, if you follow a podcast, unless they do a complete 180, they've always been that way. And it's just somebody who's trying to guilt them in for an opinion that they don't like or whatnot. So that being said, I'm going to pause this video, and the next time you see me, I will have read The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 26, and I will give you my thoughts on that. And even though I'm very, 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 very far behind in my Amazing Spider-Man reading. All right, so I just barely got through reading this sucker right here. Amazing Spider-Man number 26. Now, not this one, because that's my non-reading copy. That's maybe it might be worth something, $10 someday. I read this version of The Amazing Spider-Man 26, and there's a couple things that I need to discuss about this. So in the pages of Amazing Spider-Man, there is the death of Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, and the question that I do have to pose is it earned? Was the death of Miss Marvel earned? Now, as I reflect back to the death of Superman, which happened when I was very young, it was something that my dad, even, not a comic book guy, was, at the time collecting comics, but he knew something special was happening and he was collecting it issue by issue leading up to the death of Superman. And then he just stopped altogether right there because I guess it, hurt him. That was his guy as a kid growing up, with Superman. This is an amazing situation because where the death of Superman was earned, a stunt, by the way. However, even though it was a stunt, it was earned. It was built up over a period of time. And then there was, the reign of Superman stuff that was happening, and then the return of Superman. So it was built up over time. This, again, have not read the 25 issues that came before in The Amazing Spider-Man. I actually read the first 4 issues of Amazing Spider-Man, and then I stopped because I just didn't have time in my life to read them. So I don't know about the Kamala Khan shadowing Norman Osborn, giving him a whole check. So I'm not sure. But again, if this was to occur, this should have been like, and I don't know if she's in like, Young Avengers or something like that, but this should be, this should have had tie-ins. This should have been built up over time. There should have been, I'm not saying one-shots. Please, no more one-shots. No. I don't want to collect any more one-shots, but this should have been built up similarly, again, to the death of, Superman, where it spilled over into the pages of Justice League of America book. I believe it spilled over into the Green Lantern book. Like, if this was such a fantastic, character that it was built up for a long time, then yes, then the death was earned because of this. However, the death to me was a very sci-fi death. And I've seen it a couple times before in movies, cartoons of the sci-fi nature. And it's not an original death. Was it a shocker? I actually was kind of a tad bit shocked when they did a certain reveal. I did, because I knew who was going to die. I knew, they were dead at the end of the issue because Marvel spoiled it. So that they could, preemptively, either mark it to get a second printing already underway before the first one got out. But anyway, I don't think that's that big of a deal. And it's going to be probably undone by the time the Marvel movie comes out. So, I mean, those people who are that outraged, take your Miss Marvel comics and just like some Bud Light people did, take a machine gun to them. Take your comic collection. Just show Marvel how angry you are and, do that bazooka them. Like, if you're that outraged, light them on fire. Get some kerosene. Get all those Miss Marvel comics and just, show that Marvel that you are mad and you're never going to come back. Or, to me, it just seems like it's just those people that have never left a review on the League of Comic Geek before until now. So it is just internet anger. Not real anger. It is, and maybe you can be angry because maybe you do like the character. But if you like the character so much, why did it take until issue 26 for all of these 1-star, half of 1 stars people to leave reviews? Why is it that out of at least the 3 people on Comixology that gave reviews, 2 of them are verified purchasers, 1 of them wasn't, and 1 of them wasn't, and they had it done before it was, they could have bought it on the local comic book store stand, which means that they read it from some sort of piratey website. Sorry, piratey website. Arr, matey. Anyway, so with that, am I outraged? No. Was it obvious? Well, yeah, because Marvel spoiled it for everybody. But it's going to be undone. It's not going to be that big of a deal. The people that are outraged will still be outraged. They still won't buy anything, but did they actually buy anything before? That's the question that you have to ask. Again, it goes back to the whole She-Hulk, people who, review brigaded that, the people who review brigade, all of these things. There's two ways that review brigading happens. It's either 10 out of 10 or 1 out of 10. I think the best thing to do is take both of those those ratings and nuke those, and then just kind of give your average between 9 to 2, because I think somewhere between those two is the actual review of people who read the actual comic or watched the actual TV series and or movie. Because review brigading happens, and yeah, I don't feel upset. I'm indifferent. So with that being said, like, subscribe, unsubscribe if you'd like. I mean, I guess because I did say some unpopular opinions, go ahead. So comment down below. What are your thoughts about my thoughts about this death that doesn't have any stakes? Death in comic does not have any stakes anymore. At least for DC, it used to take a crisis or post-crisis to bring people back. And now it just kind of happens between pages or between issues. So it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, death in real life is a big deal, but not in comics. It's just a character, and they'll be back. They always will. So yeah, again, like, subscribe, maybe, I know my comic book store has lots of issues of this variant covered. They don't have any more of the secret variant cover, and but that one might be in the dollar section, as so will probably the second printing will be in the dollar section. So I'll see you there in the local comic book store in the dollar section, buying whatever. Thanks for watching. Bye. This is so silly. All right. Today, I'm going to be looking at... Jeez. Okay, let's just make sure that I'm recording. 3 minutes.